Good evening. This is Shantae. Welcome to my analysis today on Wednesday, June 24th, 2020. Almost forgot what today's date was because I've been quarantined for so long in my house that I literally forgot. Almost had like my breaking point, but I'll tell you guys later on in this thing of analysis. But yeah, it's Wednesday, it's a hump day, so I'm just gonna just jump right into it. So here we go. The coronavirus. Yes, we are still in the midst of a pandemic. Don't have to repeat that again. But according to numbers, where we at? I have two books now because my note taking has gotten severely crazy. You always gotta have your sources. So according to the John Hopkins website, we are globally we are at 9,405,504 cases of COVID-19 throughout the world. The United States make up a third of those cases, and we are at 2,380,452 cases of COVID-19 in this country. In terms of deaths or fatalities, as you want to call it, we are at 121,969. So we're almost at the 122 mark. I had a feeling that we was going to reach at least by 130 or 149 by the end of the summer, or maybe 150 by the end of the summer, because we on that trajectory too, according to scientists. So that's where we are in terms of COVID cases. In New York, I believe we're close to 400,000 cases of COVID-19, but the difference is our cases are slowly rising. We're testing 1% per day in terms of COVID cases. I'm going to get to Andrew Cuomo actually had a briefing today, so I'm going to get into that and the breaking news of that briefing. In terms of COVID around the world, I want to shed light around the world because we don't talk about what's around the world and we're starting to talk about what's going on here, but we need to talk about what's also globally too, because what affects this country affects globally, because we are the highest power, the superpower, as they say, of the map. So public health affects the economy, affects travel, affects diplomatic relations, etc. So Brazil is second behind us in cases. They're at 1,188,631 cases of COVID. Russia is at 606,043 cases of COVID. India is at 456,183 of COVID. UK is at 308,036 cases of COVID. 336 cases of COVID. Spain is at 247,086 cases. Italy is at 239,410. Now let's get to the lower tier numbers. It's lower tier numbers, and I will explain this. Dominican Republic is at 28,631 cases of COVID-19. Panama is at 28,030. Guatemala is at 14,819. Honduras is at 13,943. Now, and also El Salvador is at 150. South Korea, which is one of the Asian countries, is at 12,535, which done their testing early and reopened, and they're under 20,000. Or I should say under 15,000. Now let's get to the African countries. You have Ghana at 15,013 cases. Cameroon, 12,592. Algeria, 12,248. Sudan is at 8,889. Senegal is at 6,129. Haiti is at 5,324. They went up about 100 some odd cases. Kenya is at 5,206. Uganda is at 805 cases. In terms of the islands, you have Jamaica at 670, Trinidad and Tobago, 123. Bahamas at 104. Grenada at 23. Belize at 23. And Dominica at 18. And St. Lucia at 19 cases. The point I'm making about these cases, but I'm going to get into the states. In terms of some of the states, I said New York has one of the most highest cases, but our curve is flattening. New York City just opened to phase 2. We was one of the last regions to open. But in terms of the other states, California cases are rising. I believe it's at 100, like around 180,000 just about. And their death toll is at 5715. That means 5,715. LA alone has 88,000 cases and 512. Texas, 115,000 cases of COVID just about. And in terms of their death toll, they are at 2,270, which is 2,270 cases of COVID-19. Florida is at 103,503. That is a number I got from CNN because I couldn't get the exact Florida number. I just only got by county. I wanted by the full state. So I got the full state number. And in terms of the death toll, which I got from the Johns Hopkins website, is at 3,281. Georgia is at 67,678 cases of COVID-19, and their death toll is at 2,578. South Carolina cases, which I also got from the New York Times, their actual full death toll, because I couldn't get the full state on Johns Hopkins. They only divided by counties, and I wanted the whole state of South Carolina because that would have been too much adding to do. That is 27,897. Now, the death toll I got from Johns Hopkins is 683. Arizona which I also got from the New York Times, is 63,567, and their death toll I got from Johns Hopkins is 1,467. So all these numbers that I've read, you can look on the Johns Hopkins website, or you can look at the New York Times or CNN, because they have COVID maps, but Johns Hopkins is the one that break down by county, at different counties. The United States can't contain their cases of COVID. And the reason is, you can say state leadership, but it all falls on the President of the United States, aka the White House occupant. Donald Trump has downplayed this virus from the minute that it hit our soil. He said it will go away like the flu. He said in March, February, it may go away. Then in March, he acted, and I think March 11th, he marked this pandemic, as a national emergency. On March 16th, we went into quarantine. Some of our governors initiated a state shutdown. He has not declared a national lockdown because he felt like other states didn't need it at the time. While states took their own measures on national lockdowns and social distancing measures. He thought the economy was going to open up in the U.S. A lot of people lost their jobs, 20.7 million jobs lost, over 40 million people were out of work, and the unemployment rate is still counting. Even though partial of the country has reopened, there has been layoffs due to the economic implications of this global pandemic. No one doesn't know, if you never studied business or history. I studied business and I minored in history. A global health crisis affects not only the health of the person in the environment, because those are the main important things, but it also affects our economics, our economy, our gross domestic product, our gross national product. For those who don't know those terms, I suggest that you look it up. If you're a business person, you understand those numbers are vital. Our GDP, which is our gross domestic product, which is our goods and services, have been affected through this pandemic. Don't have the exact numbers for you, but the financial report comes out the job numbers come out tomorrow. So I'm going to remember, if I don't have this in my memory, I am going to give the GDP, the percentage of where we're at in terms of the gross domestic product, the number. And I might get the GNP number if that's available. Not sure about the credit rating, but I have to put those reminders in to get the credit rating of the country because, like every person has a credit rating or a credit score, the country has a credit rating itself, according to Moody's, which I got to make sure if I go to the Moody's website. Overall, this is affecting the American people and and America itself. Downplaying a global health crisis continuously will do more damage than more good. The way we can combat this virus is we rely on the science to continue social distancing. Working from home is vital. Plexiglass glasses and wearing our gloves and wearing our mask is great, which I encourage everybody to do and continue to social distancing, but we also got to test as well. And of course, I'm going to relay back to social distancing. I'm sorry I'm talking in circles for those who don't understand, but these things they're vital. They're extremely vital. And you can watch this video on my Instagram live and on my YouTube and on my post, because what I'm saying is going to affect us throughout the rest of this year. I understand people want to gather, get close together. I haven't seen my mother or my sisters in months. My father comes down about every Saturday, but we don't embrace. We stay at a distance, at a 6 feet distance from each other, because we don't want to give each other any symptoms of COVID-19 to each other. Even though we are not carrying, we don't know if we're asymptomatic or not. We could go get a test, but at the same time, we're trying to take measures of staying away from everyone. And that's what I encourage everyone to do. As long as we must stay away from each other. And I probably will go get a test sometime. If not this week, definitely next week. I will definitely go get a test. But I got to see which test is available in my area, because some places are not doing the testing and some are. Overall, we're in this for the long haul. And we're going to see a second wave. And the second wave is going to come during cold season, flu season, and I believe, cold flu season and allergy season. So you don't know what you're going to have. Your temperature might be up through the roof. So the best thing is staying away from people as far as you can at a 6 feet distance. So that's the thing. So on to Cuomo's briefing. Just going to be real clear. He addressed the updates. He was joined by governors of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, and Ned Lamont of Connecticut. And they announced that they are doing a travel, let me get this corrected, a travel advisory for people from high states of COVID-19. So those who have high infection, states like California, states like Georgia, states like Texas, states like some It's another state with high COVID cases. Those states with high COVID cases, and Florida, I think, if I didn't mention that, but high COVID cases have to quarantine in order they come here. They have a calibration of those infection rates, and the reason is because New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut had the highest rates of COVID-19, and we did impeccable work of flattening our curve, bending our social distancing measures. Excuse me, if I didn't say bending, that's not the right term. Taking strongholds on our social distancing measures, staying away, closing down bars, anything with large gatherings, avoiding large gatherings. So we did all of that, disinfecting stores, trains, buses, doing everything that we can to flatten our curve and do the exact 180 of what we're doing. Even though there's a good percentage of people that are not doing what they're supposed to do and walking around with no mask, like it's the coolest thing to do because it's not. But he did warn people to wear their mask and wear their gloves. In terms of the phase 4 opening, that includes like outdoor entertainment at 33% capacity. Nothing is going to be open above 50, but things are going to be open below 50, which is fine because when it's at more than 50, it creates the disease is airborne. So people can get it from the coughing and from all of that in itself. So that's what we don't want. We don't want to increase the curve. We want to bend the curve, if you catch my drift, and flatten it continuously. So that's where Governor Cuomo came with his stuff in terms of that. You can catch more of his briefing. And he did blast Donald Trump with the whole testing creates more cases, which is a lie. It's due to states reopening and not reopening without following their metrics and their data. So in terms of politics, I didn't put it on my list, but Ahmaud Arbery's case, 3 of the guys that were arrested who murdered Ahmaud Arbery was indicted on charges, and those include 4 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assaults, and 1 count of false imprisonment and criminal intent to commit false imprisonment, which I think that is right. These indictments came and it was unlawfully chasing him through the public roadways of the Starla Shores neighborhood in a pickup truck and shooting him with a shotgun. So these guys shot him in February 23rd, and they just came up with this now almost 4 months later, right? Also, the lawyers of the suspects saying that what they did was not criminal, which was BS, because look at all the counts. 4 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and 1 account of false imprisonment and criminal intent to commit false imprisonment. They were not cops. Why was you chasing this man? He was doing his regular jog, like any regular person that works out. Was they not used to black people exercising? That's all I'm saying. Also, the GBI investigator Richard Dow, who testified and said that William Bryant in an interview in May in the video said "you effing N," and after Ahmaud Arbery was shot, and then the Lee Merritt, the lawyer for this case, said we still obviously have to see through this this conviction and appropriate sentencing that is appropriate sentencing. But his mother said she's very pleased with the indictment, and she said she believes the court is on the right track. And yeah, they are on the right track. I just want to, and if so, with the convictions, they need to have at least about 15 to 25. They murdered a a man for no reason who probably don't even have a criminal record, because we don't know the backstory of Ahmaud Arbery, a full backstory of Ahmaud Arbery. What we do know is that he was unjustly killed. That's what we know. And it was a hate crime. And the Georgia legislator passed a measure to be due to Ahmaud Arbery's death, is a hate crime bill that would impose additional penalties for crimes motivated by race, religion, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, and disability. But Governor Kemp did not sign this, obviously, because it would have been known in the news. And this all came from NBC News report, and they just did incredible work on this. All protesters are screaming. The demonstrations are working. I just hope their demonstrations translate to voting so we can hold our local and state officials accountable anytime when something happens when they don't pass any legislation. The NYC City Council passed a measure to probably defund the police. Also, we need to demilitarize the police, because these police think they can use their power to, I don't know, do whatever they want to do. And those days are over. Literally over. Severely over. But I hope the protest continues. They just need to social distance, because some of them are social distancing and wear their mask. As for Michael Flynn's case, so Michael Flynn, the Federal Appeals Court in D.C. Ordered to grant the DOJ unusual move to drop the charges on Michael Flynn. I'm like, what? Michael Flynn was the National Security Advisor, the first one to Donald Trump, because he went through like 80 million of them. And a 2-to-1 panel second-guessed the prosecutors on that decision to charge Michael Flynn for criminal activity with the whole Russian collusion and basically acting as an agent to Russia. In this case, the district court's decision actions will result in specific harm to the exercise of the executive branch, inclusion, prosecutorial, power. I'm just saying all kinds of shit up. That word wrong. Which is Judge Nomi Rio, who was appointed by Donald Trump. I'm not surprised that this is a partisan issue, that the DOJ wanted to do this, that Donald Trump wanted to do this, because he tweeted and said, "Good job, appeals court." He thinks that the judicial branch, I'm saying that right, works for him, and they don't. They are independent, just like the legislative branch. It seems like, as President Obama said, the Republican Party has enabled Donald Trump to do whatever he want to do to undermine institutions that have been long-standing, that Republicans have been champions for as long as I've been alive, right? They're the ones that praises the FBI. They're the ones that praises globalism. They're the ones that praises the Constitution like no other. And here we are. They're undermining what the forefathers said, even though they are racist. The forefathers were racist. They basically undermining what the forefathers have instituted. The whole Declaration of Independence, the whole Constitution, just the whole democratic norms of how we run our institutions and our branches of government. This is what the Republican Party has become today. Co-conspirators and corruptors for Donald John Trump, the New York scam artist. This is exactly why, in my ending remarks, that I'm going to say what I'm going to say. On to, speaking of the Republicans, in the Senate today, there was a vote 55 to 45, blocking the Tim Scott, the lone African-American Republican of South Carolina, criminal justice reform bill that's, to me, an extension of Donald Trump's executive order. They call it criminal justice reform, the GOP, but it's not criminal justice because it doesn't ban chokeholds. It doesn't ban no-knock warrants or police immunity. So, and a police immunity, for those who don't know, is to sue the police when they wrongfully killed somebody for no reason, violations of laws, of police laws, right? And measures. So that's what police immunity means. So Kamala Harris in her speech, if you could watch it, it went viral, where her basically about to be trolled by a Republican, but she put him in his place, that you cannot pass criminal justice reform, this for that. Don't include this, but don't include that. But want to put the anti-lynching bill in, but then hold the anti-lynching bill back, which is a separate bill from criminal justice reform, and not take up the justice and police reform, which will be voted in tomorrow in Congress from the CBC and through the whole entire Congress. So you can look out for that tomorrow, because I'm going to be looking out that tomorrow, and I'm going to give you my analysis on that as well. It's like, you can't do this for that. It's like, she says something, it's like your mother, it's like, if I got the quote corrected, because I like the quote that she said, it's like asking a mother to save one of the children and leave the others. Because it's true. It's like this for that. It's almost like a quid pro quo, with these Republicans. It can't be a this for that. And they've been doing that before Donald Trump got in for a long time, but it just got worse. So this is exactly why I say elections matter once again. In terms of the House Judiciary Committee hearing, I watched watched some of it. I watched the part where some of the career professional of the Justice Department really they really had integrity. And some of them, keep in mind, they worked for Republicans and Democrats. Criminal justice, the DOJ career professionals, lawyers are not partisan, most of them. They are career attorneys that work under either Democrat or Republican presidents. But Donald Trump has made it very clear that he is for himself and self-interest, to make himself look good, and he will do anything to undermine our democratic norms, and these career lawyers are not having it. They said the whole thing with Roger Stone, because that's what the hearing was halfway about, was treated differently than the other folks who were, like Michael Cohen, who were charged according to the Mueller report. And they found it very unusual. And one of the guys said he resigned from the case because he felt morally and his integrity as a lawyer was wrong. And it was. Donald Trump is like I said, undermining our norms. He's undermining everything that this country, most of it, stands for in terms of the law. Donald Trump has always, for those who lived in New York, always undermined the law. Like, it's not new to New Yorkers, but it's new to the rest of the country. It's sad that the whole country and the world is finding out who Donald Trump is and what he's about. I mean, come on. Where was everybody? Living under a rock? When the man ran for president the first and second time, we all knew what kind of asshole he was, and a racist, and all the epithets of who he was. It's just sad that now everybody, like I said, everybody's finding out that he's a criminal. Duh. If you look at past history and do your research on Donald Trump was almost this close to going to jail back in the 80s under money he got from the mob. Also, he almost didn't pay back the mom, his father had to save him because he was about to get killed. Donald Trump has done so many under practices that could have got him in trouble. And before, he was elected, the former AG at Eric Schneiderman was investigating him, along with the former district attorney Pete Pereira was investigating him. And during his tenure in the office, the last district attorney of the Southern District of New York was investigating him, and others, including Giuliani. And our AG, currently, Tish James, is investigating Trump and his children. So either way, they're not out of the fray. They're not. So good luck on finding good lawyers, because you're going to need some, especially if you get voted out in November, because I pretty have a feeling, like this feeling that it's going to be the end of Donald Trump, because the country does not want to live under these social distancing norms anymore. And nobody wants to be sicker. Now, in terms of enabling this, you have John Bolton, who did an interview on The View. You can see on YouTube. He pretty much was asked, why now putting out this book when you was asked to testify? He gave some lame excuse about it's partisan. He didn't like the way it was going. Either way, when he speak, it didn't make a difference. It would have made a difference. I mean, your colleagues that worked under you spoke truth to power. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman and the other woman, one of the other ambassadors, she spoke too. Forgot her name. If anybody could give it to me, that'd be good. She spoke truth to power of what Trump was doing and what Sondland was doing, and what Rudy Giuliani was doing, and how Pence was also implicated in this too, because his name was invoked more than once. So therefore, as I'm saying, is John Bolton is full of shit. He just want money, and he's getting criticized by the right, and it's this people on the left, of course, like myself, we're criticizing him because it's like, why you didn't speak now? Why you spoke now? Why you didn't speak then? Because it would have halfway made a difference. You would have persuaded at least 2 more Republicans, because it would have made a difference. But instead, you want to make money. So, no brownie points. School, what's his face? Bolton. In terms of elections, right here is the last topic. It was a huge win for the northeast of the Bronx, which is the Gun Hill Road section in Westchester. Jamal Bowen, who is a middle school teacher from the Department of Education in New York City, unseated longtime veteran congressman of 30 years, Elliot Engel. I did not know that was going to happen because it was like a little shaky with the poll numbers. But if you see his campaign, he really run a great campaign. I'm happy for his campaign. But what gives me pause is not him. It's the people, the pundits that are boasting about him, like TYNT, like The Intercept, and like other so-called far left progressives, who I don't think they're progressives because they don't get shit done, making it seem like they're just going to unseat all Democrats. And I understand some of these Democrats are a little older, they get a little rusty. Sometimes they don't do what we ask them to do. However, you cannot criticize people that has been doing the damn thing for a long time while your ass was benefiting from the damn thing that they done. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because it makes me think that y'all are co-conspirators for the Republican Party and for the far right and the Tea Party and whatnot. Because that's not who the Democrat Party is. Yes, there's issues within both party systems. Duh. I'm not giving a pass to anybody. But don't criticize people that has been doing the work. Because I'm tired of these far left, under 30 folks, more so white privileged people that grew up in middle class families, decide they want to be in the allyship. You're not an ally. You're not. It may sound really mean. Y'all may label me as a racist. Because I know I'm not. I'm speaking truth. When you don't do the damn thing, and when you're not doing nothing to promote social change or partnering with any local officials to do any legislation, I need y'all to shut up. And let nature take its course. And don't take away from Jamal Bowen's win. So TYNT, Intercept, and all other quote-unquote Justice Dems, shh. Don't say nothing. Just shut up. Just shut the hell up. Now in terms of the other races, Madeira Jones, I think from District 17, that's north of of New York City. And also Richie Torres, councilman of the Bronx, who won the congressional primary for the 15th congressional district in the Bronx, which Jose Serrano is retiring because he has Parkinson's disease, which he's a rising star in New York politics, have won that primary. I think is a great thing. Richie Torres have done stuff for my family per se. Because of him, my dad was on, and my parents was on the brink of homelessness again. And he found a affordable apartment for them that is over $1,000 less, over $1,500 less, and they are getting subsidies for their stuff due to Richie Torres's office. So there's some good work that's done in there. So I'm really, really, really happy that he's going into Congress. Maybe there's going to be some change, and I'm grateful for that. In terms of other primaries, of course, Karen Maloney, who is a congresswoman in this district that I live in, but I don't vote in this district, actually does for the people in this district. So she won her seat. Jerry Nadler, who is one of the impeachment managers, won his seat. Who else won their seat? Hakeem Jeffries, who was another impeachment manager, Greg Meeks, Adriana Espaillat, who is my congressman, and other folks. In terms of Kentucky, there's a contentious race that results is going to be announced next week, and that's Charles Booker and Amy McGrath. So that's going to be introduced next week. So as I conclude this whole entire live, I want to say elections does matter. It matters. If you're 18 and over, you still got time to register for the elections. Even though you missed the primaries, you still have time to register. You can go on a website. You can Google how to register in your local district, in your local area. Because when you don't vote, there are consequences. And one of those consequences is having another 4 years of a New York scam artist from Queens who have filed for bankruptcy 4 times, who have almost went to jail, almost got killed by the mob, who was a grifter and always have been. So that's what we're dealing with, folks. So it's important and it's imperative, thank you, to vote. Vote like your life depends on it. We're looking forward towards a VP. It's going to be a woman. I have a feeling it's going to be a black woman because one of the prominent white women bowed out of the vetting process. I hope another white woman bows out of the vetting process. So we hope. I'll take questions tomorrow in terms of the VP and give you guys a voice of who should be the VP and explain exactly why in your comments tomorrow, or you can DM those comments to me. I'm going to end this. I'm going to say good night, and you guys have a wonderful evening and see you tomorrow.